Righty?
So, we've done the consent form, we've done demographics, so now we're going to start with some questions.
Okay.
So, what type of home ownership do you have? Do you own or rent your home?
I own my home.
You own it. Is it a single family detached home?
It is.
When did you move in?
We built the home in 1990. And so moved in June of 1990.
So, what brought you to Houston, or have you always been in Houston?
No, I grew up in Macon, and I came to Houston in 1983 to start renting some farmland and started farming.
Well, what did you farm?
Cotton, peanuts, soybeans, pecans, corn, small grains.
And then how many acres were you renting?
I started off renting about 700 acres, and then I grew to about 1,200 acres by the late 90s, and then I got involved in real estate, and so kind of have two careers now. I'm both a real estate broker and a farmer. So I still have my farm.
Yeah, that's
but I'm not farming near as much now. I'm just farming about 100 acres now.
Okay. And is that still like cotton, like some other things?
This year was all cotton.
Oh, okay.
And next year we'll probably do peanuts or a combination of cotton and peanuts next year.
Okay.
So
that's awesome.
You said you came here in 1983? Is that what you said? Okay, cool. So you do a little bit of farming now, but mostly real estate. So do you own the 100 acres that you do?
I do.
Wow. That's a lot of acres.
It is.
So tell us a little bit about the house you built. What kind of house is it?
It's a two-story house. It's got 6 bedrooms. So I had a bunch of kids. I had 6 kids. So it has 6 bedrooms. It's about 5,000 square feet.
Well, that's a lot of house.
It's like a big old dormitory. Big dormitory. Had a big playroom and
That's awesome.
2-car garage. Sits in the middle of my farm. Right, smack dab in the middle of my farm. And what else? What else you need?
What's your roof? What kind of roof you
It's a
got?
shingle roof. Asphalt shingles.
So does it have any rooftop solar on it?
It does not.
Does not.
I would love for somebody to come do a scientific experiment out there. And put some up out there for me.
That's right.
Because it is really ideal for it. It's a lot of sun. I mean, I have decorative trees around the house, but they're all small, and the roof is it's a very broad roof area.
Right.
And we get a lot of sun. I've always thought it would be ideal to have some kind of solar panels up there.
So you've just thought about it. Have you looked into it ever?
I may have looked at it several years ago, but not since I think they've gotten more economical. You know, it was when I looked into it, it was so expensive to look at doing it. But the technology is so much better now, I think. And so.
Do you have wells on your farm to irrigation wise for your
do.
cotton? How many wells do you have?
I have irrigation wells. I just have 2 wells, and then I have a pond, and we actually feed the pond from those wells, and then we irrigate out of the
Is that
pond.
expensive? Electricity wise, I guess?
Yeah, I mean it's comparable to other ways of doing it.
Right.
It seems expensive when I pay that bill.
Right.
Doesn't any bill though?
Right.
That's right. Yeah, it would be sweet to be getting some credit, with the energy company with Flint is who supplies our energy. Yeah. And if you were doing that with but it's all about the initial capital investment. What's that going to cost? Right. I really have thought about it. I thought it would be a wonderful idea. I love riding down over to Columbus.
96,
Yes,
Highway 96,
yes,
Taylor
see those-
County.
Yes, goodness gracious, and that's something what they're doing.
They got a lot of solar panels out that way.
So, what do you think would be the best way for you to get the education on what the cost benefits would be?
I think y'all need to do something out of the extension office.
So it sounds like you got to do a presentation, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Get some folks in here to sponsor it, who are
Yeah.
in the business and but then I'd like to hear some unbiased, input about it from our extension people. I think that would be great.
Okay.
So, what kind of education do you think that you should see out of the extension?
Well, what you can expect in terms of the capital expense that what's it going to cost to put them in. What can you expect as far as energy generated? What percentage of your household energy can be generated from that? I understand, I think I understand. See, this is what it would be good to know. Will Flint or Middle Georgia EMC, with the EMCs or Georgia Power, are they required to buy what you produce? If you have an overage, or will that go as a credit against
some type of compensation?
Yeah, because I think there's the potential for there to be produced more than you actually need, and so I'd like to know the details about that. The details of they've got, just all the new technology that they've got of being able to store the energy. I think you got these batteries, and there's new technology as far as all those. I'd like to know about that.
Okay.
So I've done some, looking on the internet, and there's some pretty interesting YouTube articles about different kinds of ways that you set up your electrical system, to do that. But it'd be great to have that kind of program offered in the extension office.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Georgia, or no, U.S. Where's our map at? Up there.
You got it.
Just kidding. So, you got a pen right there, and out of the U.S., where do you think more rooftop solar kind of exists across the country? So, kind of color, mark, draw, however you want to identify it across
where do
the
I
country.
think the most solar rooftops? Okay, I would say probably here. Okay, you want me? Okay.
Oh no, it's your best guess, but if you can't.
Oh, am I
outline.
supposed to just pick one?
No,
Okay.
it is as many as you think. Whatever you think.
Let's see. Texas too. It rains too much in Oregon and Washington, I think. But they're certainly into green stuff out there, probably more than we are. Yeah, I mean,
Mostly what you think. So, why would you think the Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California areas would have it more than your Georgia?
because of the hours of sunlight that they would have in a typical day. I would think they'd have more. They're going to have less cloudy days than we are, in the southeast. I know we get plenty of sunlight though too, but those probably have a higher percentage. I mean, they're just drier climates.
What about the people out there? Do you think that has any effect?
Yeah, and that's why that's why I made the comment about the West Coast there. They're a lot more, tend to be a lot more environmentally aware than probably the rest of the country, I would say. Although I hope all of us are environmentally aware. This is an amazing world we live in.
Right.
It is pretty unique as far as we know in the universe.
Yeah.
And we better take care of it.
Right.
So And the sun, goodness gracious, what a big old ball of energy that thing is.
Right.
And we ought to be using our smarts to figure out how to harness that better.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's right.
So, what about in the state of Georgia? Where do you think there would be more solar usage in the state of Georgia?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put Taylor County.
Yep.
I think this is Taylor County right there. Is that it? Somewhere right there. Right there. No, that's Peach. That's Houston Peach.
Ain't that Crawford?
That's Crawford.
Yeah.
That's Macon.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's Taylor.
So I got to be, one of them two.
Somewhere in there. In terms of numbers of people, obviously you got this whole Atlanta area, that's, but I don't know that you, well, I mean, that's probably where your majority of people doing it is in Atlanta.
Why do you think that?
Just because you got more people, more rooftops there, and I don't mean to say that the rest of us in Georgia are not environmentally sensitive, but typically you're going to have your Athens, your Atlanta area, maybe Savannah area more aware of that and proactive. The weather climate is probably better south, outside of Atlanta. South and southeast. But as far as the numbers of people, you're going to have more in Atlanta.
Right.
That's what I think.
Okay.
What's the right answer?
It's none.
There's not really.
No, I'm
It's
curious
just your opinion.
It's just no. That's part of what this research is doing. Is it's trying to find out what the common census is of what information people need on education and what kind of awareness people actually even have of it. That's what a lot of the big purpose is. I had a question that came to mind. I don't remember what it was though. Do you think that jobs have anything to do with the areas that you picked?
Yeah, and more income.
Compared to, because
income.
compared to your southern areas of Georgia.
You're going to have higher incomes for a broader number of people, certainly in the more metropolitan areas.
Do you think there's more accessibility in any of that stuff to solar than there is in your southern part?
I think with the internet and Amazon and all that, I mean, anybody, you can be down
shopping with your phone.
You can be down in Haneyville, and order anything that anybody else can in Atlanta. So I don't know now the accessibility of people who can install it may be definitely more available in your more metropolitan areas.
So do you know any friends that have solar? In Georgia or even elsewhere?
I don't know that I do. I don't know. Don't know that I do.
Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Only let's come do an experiment at my house.
We'll leave that up to Jacqueline.
A university college experiment.
Yeah.
Come out. I have a great place to do it.
Great place to do it. We'll let them know.
And we'll have a good party afterwards.
We'll let them know.
Big old empty house.
That's right.
Well, thank you for your time. And if you've got any questions, you can call Lakeisha.